prison is supposed to be the place where options disappear. No freedom, no tools, no privacy, and definitely no secret innovation lab. But history keeps proving one deeply annoying truth for prison officials. Lock up a bored human for long enough, and suddenly a ceiling, a toilet, a newspaper, or dental floss becomes part of an engineering department nobody approved. At Marion Correctional Institution in Ohio, that unofficial engineering department apparently moved straight into the ceiling. 2 inmates collected discarded electronic parts from a recycling program, assembled 2 working computers, and hid them above a training room like criminal office equipment with dust allergies. Then they used those machines to access the prison network, create passes, browse the internet, and generally behave like the world's most illegal information technology interns. Staff eventually noticed suspicious activity tied to a contractor account, which sounds boring until you remember the source was literally above their heads. It was not some mysterious cyber criminal in a dark foreign basement. It was 2 inmates running a ceiling-based startup with no permission, no budget, and somehow more initiative than a lot of corporate teams with free coffee and dental insurance. And once you realize prisoners can turn a ceiling into a computer lab, the next logical step is realizing they can turn a toilet into a phone. Long before contraband mobile phones became the obvious nightmare, inmates in some jails learned that shared plumbing could carry sound between cells. If the water was cleared and the pipe system lined up just right, the toilet became a disgusting metal megaphone. People use this toilet talk for gossip, warnings, chess moves, arguments, and probably the worst romantic conversations ever attempted by the human species. Prison architects spent centuries designing spaces to isolate people, and then the inmates looked at stainless steel plumbing and said, "Nice intercom." It is gross, clever, and deeply embarrassing for any security system defeated by bathroom infrastructure. Communication happened, technically. Humanity simply paid a spiritual price for it. But prison improvisation does not always stay in the realm of sneaky communication. Sometimes it jumps directly into the category labeled, "How did nobody notice this sooner?" In 1984, at Celle prison in Germany, 2 inmates built a functioning shotgun from scavenged materials inside the prison. Not a toy, not a dramatic prop for a low-budget crime film. A real homemade firearm, assembled in the exact place where officers were supposed to prevent exactly that kind of disaster. The details are usually kept broad, because nobody needs prison history turning into a workshop tutorial. But the basic idea is wild enough. Metal from prison furniture, improvised components, and the kind of patience usually reserved for cathedral builders or people waiting on government paperwork. During the escape, the weapon was convincing and dangerous enough to help them take control. It proved prison security is not just about locks. It is about never underestimating bored people with time, rage, physics, and terrible plans. That same mix of boredom and survival can also create something much quieter, but just as revealing. Roscoe Jones spent 11 years in solitary confinement at Louisiana's Angola prison, and instead of simply vanishing into the walls, he created a detailed board game called Serving Time on the River: The Harsh Realities of Prison Life. This was not Monopoly with worse lighting. Players moved through a brutal, hand-drawn version of Angola, facing punishments, violence, scams, danger, and survival choices. It was colorful, clever, and almost aggressively depressing, like Candyland if every square said, "Congratulations, prison got worse." What makes it fascinating is that it was not only entertainment. It was social commentary from inside the system, built by someone who understood the rules because he was trapped under them. Most board games teach strategy, math, or how to destroy a family evening. This one taught institutional dread with dice, cardboard, and zero mercy. Of course, sometimes the invention does not need to be complex at all. Sometimes it just needs to work for 10 terrifying seconds. John Dillinger's 1934 escape from the Lake County Jail in Crown Point, Indiana, became legendary because the jail had been loudly described as escape-proof, which is basically history's way of inviting humiliation through the front door. Dillinger later claimed he fooled guards with a pistol carved from wood and darkened with shoe polish. Some accounts dispute whether the gun was truly wooden because crime history loves ruining perfect stories with paperwork, but the legend survived for a reason. America's most wanted bank robber walked out of a supposedly secure jail using theater, confidence, and possibly a fake weapon. No tunnel, no explosion, no secret submarine waiting outside. Just nerve, timing, and a prop that made guards choose survival over inspection. Humiliating? Absolutely. Understandable? Also absolutely. And if a fake weapon could fool a jail, then everyday prison objects could become tools for almost anything, including food. Prison cooking has produced some of the strangest survival engineering on Earth, because when people are hungry, bored, and surrounded by rules, a cell can become a deeply cursed kitchen lab. One infamous inmate improvisation is the toilet paper grill, a makeshift way to heat food when proper appliances are unavailable. This is not fine dining. This is, I miss hot food so badly that I am now emotionally negotiating with fire safety. The exact setup varies, and for obvious reasons this is not a recipe, but the point is the same. Scarcity changes the meaning of every object. A can, a roll, and a spark become dinner equipment in conditions that would make a health inspector evaporate through the nearest wall. It is sad, ridiculous, clever, and absolutely not endorsed by anyone who enjoys having eyebrows. That same low-tech creativity reached its most famous theatrical peak at Alcatraz in 1962, when Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers used fake sleeping heads to fool guards during their escape. They sculpted dummy heads from homemade materials, painted them, added real hair gathered from the prison barbershop, and placed them in their beds during night checks. Just imagine a guard shining a flashlight into a dark cell, seeing what looks like a sleeping prisoner, and walking away while the actual prisoner is busy crawling into American folklore. The heads did not need to survive museum-level inspection. They only needed to work for a few seconds in bad light on tired officers doing a routine task. That was the genius of it. Alcatraz expected tunnels, tools, and brute force. Instead, one of the most famous prisons on Earth got embarrassed by arts and crafts with a haircut. Once you see papier-mache defeat Alcatraz, it becomes easier to understand how even ordinary paper could become survival gear. In prisons, inmates have been known to pack newspapers or magazines under clothing as crude protection against stabbing attacks. It sounds absurd until you remember that layered paper, compressed tightly enough, can be surprisingly tough. Is it real armor? No. Is it comfortable? Probably not. Is it better than standing there protected only by hope in a bad situation? Very likely. That is the grim logic of prison invention. A magazine outside prison is something you ignore in a waiting room while pretending not to cough. Inside, it can become a shield, a hiding place, a bargaining chip, or part of some desperate plan. Yesterday's celebrity gossip becomes emergency body protection. Absurd, practical, depressing, and weirdly perfect as a symbol of how scarcity rewrites reality. And then, just when paper armor starts sounding like the strangest possible example, dental floss enters the room with completely unnecessary confidence. The dental floss escape sounds like a cartoon gag, but versions of it have actually happened. In 2000, Italian mobster Vincenzo Curcio escaped from Turin's Vallette prison after cutting through cell bars with dental floss or a similar coated line. The important detail is that the bars were reportedly softer ductile iron, not some superhero steel from a comic book fortress. So this was not magic. It was friction, patience, and a terrifying commitment to the world's worst hobby. The broader idea became famous enough that Mythbusters later tested whether dental floss could cut through metal under the right conditions, and found it plausible, though painfully slow. Most people give up flossing because they are tired. This guy turned it into an escape plan. Horrible dental branding, excellent persistence. So the weirdest prisoner inventions are not just about objects. They are about pressure, boredom, desperation, and human creativity refusing to sit quietly in a locked room. Which one is the most disturbing? The ceiling computers, the toilet intercom, the fake Alcatraz heads, or the dental floss escape? Drop your answer in the comments, and if this video made prison stationery feel suspicious, hit like and subscribe.